Hey everyone, today I'll be showing you how to use BeatMaker 2. This is a new update, version 2.3. It was updated on August 9th, so that was about a week ago. Okay, so BeatMaker 2, before I get into this app, I just want to let you know a little bit about it. They call this app the Advanced Mobile Music Workstation. What that simply means is you can compose, record, you can arrange, take any of your ideas and put it in here and create songs and make music. It comes with a built-in mixer, comes with built-in effects, comes with 10 effects, and everything from bit crushing, chorus, flanger, delay, filters, EQ. Comes with everything, reverb, all the standard effects that you need to use. So it's pretty solid on that. Comes with 170 high quality instruments and drum presets. You can even import any songs from your iPod or your iTunes playlist and sample a section from your song, and you can use it in your song project. Okay, other than that, if you have any immediate hardware lying around, like say you have an old MPC, old drum machine, or like a keyboard, you want to connect it, hook it up to your iPad, you can use those to control the instruments inside BeatMaker 2. Alright, so when you open up BeatMaker 2, you get this screen right here. It's basically BeatMaker 2, your good friend BeatMaker 2. He's saying, hey, do you want to play with drums, or do you want to play with keyboard, or do you want to play with audio tracks? Which one do you want to play with today? Audio track is the new feature. Before it didn't have that. Before it was just drum machine and keyboard sampler. But today I'm going to go into the audio track because it's the newest feature. These two I will show you how to use later on. So when you select that, it takes you to this is a sequencer. Okay, so this is basically where everything happens, like where you want to do editing, you want to edit your patterns or audio tracks. This is everything you need for studio work. Okay. You see at the top there's a blue home button with like a house in the center of it. That's your home, so it's really easy. If you want to go home, just look for your house. Okay, so when you press that, it takes you to the current instrument you're using, which is the audio track 1. On the side here, this is your mixer settings. You could adjust the volume levels here. You could adjust the panning left and right here. These 3 plus signs are for inserting effects. Okay, so let's say I'll insert the maximum amount of effects you can insert is 3. So I'm gonna select. See, it'll come up with a selection of effects you can use. I'll pick an EQ, a reverb, and I'll just go with a delay. Okay, so if you see in your effects section, now it's filled with 3 effects that I just selected. If you click on the icon, it takes you directly into that effect, and you could adjust the settings there. So I'll click on the EQ, the equalizer. You can adjust the faders or the sliders here. This is the low, the mid, and the high gains. Okay, every effect have this green button, this green volume button at the top, and this blue, it's like a blue box with a white cross over it. This is the X and Y pad. So if you press that again, it turns to red with an X. That means you mute this effect. So this effect is currently not being enabled in your track. If you turn it on, it enables it. This blue XY pad is for performance, for performing uses. So if you click onto that, you see this little blue, kind of like a blue dot over here. This is what section you selected into this Y and X pad. On the side, on the left-hand side, you can select what the X-axis is set to and what the Y-axis is set to. So right now it's set to default low. On the X-axis set to low gain, on the Y-axis set to mid gain. So let's say you don't want that. You want X to be high and then Y to be low. You can just go high and low. Okay, so this is mainly for performances. Like I said, every effect has this green and this blue button. Okay, if I go back to the home, I select reverb, it's still there. If I select delay, it's still there. Okay, If you don't want an effect, let's say you change your mind, you don't want delay anymore, you just simply hold it down and a pop-up asks you, do you want to delete your delay effect? Yes, then delete. So let's just delete reverb as well. If you don't want this track anymore, you don't want this instrument, same thing applies to the effects. Like you hold it down, it'll pop up, it'll ask you if you want to delete it. But since I'm using it at the moment, I'm not going to delete it. Okay, if you see, this is a MIDI icon. This is for your MIDI settings. So this lets you adjust which input channels or output MIDI channels you want it to be. I'll set it as 1. You can save configurations, or you have a previous configuration, you can load it in here. Exit that. This TRS icon cable right here, this is your audio settings. So because I have the audio instrument on, if I select that, it lets me adjust settings for recording audio. Right now it's set to no input. You can set to input 1 or 2. They have a monitor setting, so this is for monitoring your own recording. On recording means if you set this on, it's literally recording on if you select it. If you don't select it, it's off. This is your input gain of the volume level in your recording. So if you're recording like using your microphone, this adjusts the volume of how much input your microphone is putting in to the sequencer. Okay. It comes with a noise gate option. You can select the settings for the threshold, attack, hold, and release. Okay, I'm gonna have that off for now. Also notice that everything I'm pressing or selecting turns to blue when I press on it. That means it's being enabled, or it's being selected, or it's being activated. Okay, so it applies to everything in this whole app. Down here you see a green plus sign. That's INSTR period. That means instrument. So if you want to add another instrument, you just click on that. This is for convenience. Like you want to scroll through your tracks real quick, you can just press these tabs right here. The more tracks you have, the more tabs there will be. Okay. At the top, there's a sequencer, mixer, importing samples, and exporting sharings. These are the 4 main tabs in your home button or your home section. So the sequencer looks like 3 lines with 6 random dots placed over it. That's basically where everything happens. All your projects, all your editing will go into that. All your studio stuff will go into that. The knob icon means your mixer. So this is where you adjust. You could solo the track, mute the track, adjust the volume settings, the volume levels. This is your samples. You want to import, or you can record samples. You could import from your iPod. You could import, a song. That'll be the tab for importing samples. The last tab over here, this is for exporting and sharing. If you want to export to SoundCloud, share to your friends, you want to export to Dropbox. You can even use they have the internet browser function where it gives you an IP address, and you type the IP address in, it gives you a password. You could go from there and share your stuff on there too. So let's go to the sequencer. If you see down here, there are 6 tabs. This is for navigating. This is for going through your sequencer. This is for you could run through your sequencer regions when you have that tab selected. This is the select option, which lets you select the regions of, say, your MIDI and your audio tracks. This is the draw tab, which lets you draw in a MIDI or audio region, and it also lets you draw in MIDI patterns and etc. So for example, I'm gonna draw an audio region over here. There you go. And there you go, that's your audio region. This is split, so let's say you want to cut this in half. This is how you split it. There you go, so I just made that audio region into 2. Import is where you import your MIDI files or your MIDI projects, and same with if you want to import your audio tracks, you can do so here. This is your export, so this is where, let's say you finish a song, you want to export it, or you just want to export a loop, you can also do so. and it lets you select two options. You could either have an audio or a MIDI file. So when I click on that, you can see to audio file or to MIDI file, and then you want to export the whole song or the loop, just the loop. You can do so there. Okay, so I'm gonna let you know. I'm gonna go over some basic things right here. This is the track. This lets you add another track. So I'm gonna have two audio tracks here. This red button, if you see next to this volume icon, this is the ARM recording setting. So if you have that, that means it's gonna be recorded. If you turn that, if you press it again, it turns it off. This volume, white volume sign here, when you press on that, it mutes it, and it unmutes it. This plus sign is for you to rename your track. Say you don't want it to be called track 2. It's for you to duplicate it, clear it, delete it. This is where you can import samples directly into that track. Import the MIDI, import the audio. This is where you import your iPod songs or iPod sounds, iTunes, etc. Okay, this play button, which looks like 3 play buttons stacked onto each other, this thing right here, when you select that, when you play the song, it'll keep following your playhead and it'll scroll through the project. So your playhead won't get lost somewhere on some random bar you don't know where it is. So it's just going to keep going through, it's going to scroll through like that. The playhead will do what the slider is doing. Okay, the orange region means this is there'll be 2 orange playheads. This is where your loop starts and where your loop stops. Okay. At the top, these are your two sliders that let you navigate through your sequencer, and you can also navigate using your fingers to pinch, to zoom in, and to zoom out. At the top here, this is the undo and the redo. So it undoes what you last did, it redoes what you last did. When you select a region, you will see this wrench thing, this yellow wrench that pops out nowhere, that brings an army of little tabs around it. Okay, so this is all your tools. So when you open that up, you'll see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different little icons. The first one here, this is your edit pattern tool. So when you select that, you could edit furthermore into your track. So right now I have audio track, so I can edit the audio file. But if I have a MIDI region, it lets me draw in MIDI notes. This is the duplicate. So this makes an exact copy of what you have, and it just sticks it behind it. So if you can see, it's my audio track, and I press duplicate, it makes an exact copy. The third tab right here, this is copy. So it copies, it's really similar to duplicate, but instead of just copying directly, it copies whatever notes that you have in the previous region. This X with a box is delete. So let's say I don't want the duplicate file, the duplicate region, excuse me, and I just press that to delete it. Okay, this is your note value section. So this, you can select, say you want to go very deep into editing. Right now it's set to whole notes. You can select half notes, quarter notes, eighth notes, 16th notes, etc. Okay. Aside from that, I'm going to go back to the tools. I forgot to explain this section here. This is to allow you to move the track up and down within the sequencer. So as you can see, I can move that up, I can move that down. This region right here will do so. So the up and down arrows moves it up and down. The left and right arrows moves it left and right. This over here, this is for resizing your pattern and your region. You can adjust length. You can make it as long as you want. You can make it as short as you want. Okay, this thing right here, this is your eye. Like this literally means if you tap this button, it zooms in on the current selection. So I have that selected, and if I press on it, it zooms in. This loops the region that you have. However long or however short, it will automatically loop just that region. So as you can see, when I press on that, these orange playheads here show me when the loop starts and when the loop ends. So let's say, let's make this region longer. When I press the loop, it automatically detects where it starts and where it ends. As you can see, the orange is now selecting the whole region over here, the loop section. Okay, at the top over here, next to the home button, this blue section here tells you your project information. So it tells you the name of your project, how much space your project is taking up, how much space your samples are taking up. It tells you the beats per minute of your song, which is at 90. It tells you how many bars. It tells you your how long your song is, which is 0 at the moment because I don't have anything. It tells you the hours, the minutes, the seconds. My bad. This is the stop, the play, record, backwards, forwards, loop, click, and your omni option. This will be your recording settings, which lets you pick. Okay, right now it's recorded. It's track 2, set to track 2. It lets you select quantize, which automatically quantizes whatever you record. It allows you to adjust the amount of swing you want. And the pre-roll means if you set it to 1, right now it's set to 1. If you enable that, it counts 4 beats before it starts recording anything. So if you wanted to count 8 beats, then you press that, which turns it to 2. And again, anything you see in this app, when you want it to be enabled, it will turn to blue, it will highlight it blue. So if you don't highlight it blue, then it's not going to be enabled. It won't be activated. Okay. Down here, there's a note repeat, there's a note overdub, and a note erase section here. So what the note repeat means is if you have that turned on, when you hold down an instrument key or a pad repeatedly, it triggers the note at the rate set for the quantize, at the value of what your quantize is set to. Your note overdub is when you turn that on, when you record over a previous pattern that you did earlier, the new notes that you play in will not replace the notes that existed before. So this is just a standard overdub feature. Note erase means if you tap this button, it goes to a note erase mode, which means when it's on, pressing a note while recording will remove any of the existing similar notes that were played back from the current pattern. So for now, I'm just going to have quantize and the pre-roll, the pre-count in enabled, and note overdub to be enabled. The song settings are very simple. This is your time signature, you could adjust it. This is when your loop starts, you could adjust that. How long your loop is, the duration, your beat per minute. You can also tap, it gives you a random beat per minute. You can use the plus and minus signs to adjust the settings, or you could, for the BPM, you can use your finger to slide it. It's depending on what you're used to. I'll set it to 120 for now. Okay, so this is the mixer. When you click on the mixer, it allows you to adjust each individual channel's volume level. So the red one will be the main. This white one will be audio track 1. It allows you to adjust the panning left and right, and it allows you to turn on the solo, or you could have this mute. I'll go back, and this is your, so that was the mixer. This is your importing your tracks. So if you want to record a sample, you want to open a sample or from a previous saved preset, or you want to just import a song from your iPod. This is where you do so. This is where you export or share. So let's say you want to export it using the internet. It'll give you an IP address. You type that in your internet browser and it'll give you a password. This is your SoundCloud. Say you want to share your song on SoundCloud with your friends, or you want to have someone hear it, you can put it on Dropbox. And it also has the copy and paste pasteboard option. Also, you can import from your iPod here. This is throughout the whole app. There's many places where you can access the iPod import. Okay. So for now, I just roughly went through everything that I need to know about this app for the audio recording. Okay, I'm just gonna record an audio using guitar. Okay, so I recorded, this is my guitar track. Okay, so this covers the new version 2.3. It covers how you record. And the next video, I'll show you how to use the drum pad to import samples and chop it up. Thank you for watching, subscribe, and if you have any questions, you could leave me a comment or send me a message.